I would think in most cases, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Yes.
My experience of entrepreneurs is they're wonderful at being idea people and seeing
Yeah.
opportunity, whether people see risks, they're willing to take chances, they're willing, they take action, and they're impatient. They tend to be a little bit intolerant. They don't understand why the rest of the world doesn't see what they see. They don't get it. They don't get why people don't want to, that people aren't as committed to them or as passionate as them. But and what they don't get is people don't see what people don't see what the entrepreneur says.
Right.
And for that reason, the skill set that makes you a wonderful entrepreneur make you a horrible manager, will probably make you a horrible coach. They don't listen very well. So again, nothing against entrepreneurs. I think entrepreneurs are wonderful. And the reason there's so few of them, you know, that so few people actually start businesses, because so few people have that entrepreneurial conversation, mindset, whatever you want to call it, that they're not willing to go out. Most people aren't willing to take the risks that the average entrepreneur takes. So with that, the average entrepreneur doesn't have the patience to be a coach. A coach has to be very patient. And the entrepreneur typically sees the world for, they miss a lot of things, because, you know, your perspective will have you see things, will also blind you to certain things. And the thing I've seen entrepreneurs do is they tend to dismiss everybody who doesn't, or most people who don't share their perspective, especially people who are risk averse. And that's dangerous, because, you know, if somebody's risk averse and then they tell you about a danger and you don't, it's nothing, you know, why you bother me with that? And I've seen that so many times. And it's a lot of times they're correct. I mean, I saw one guy, one entrepreneur, he had a business, he had flood insurance, right? He had like $1 million flood insurance that was actually required by the bank. And he saw it as like a waste of money, and that's just not going to happen. When it doesn't flood here, we've seen all kinds of rains. The flood of 1983 here in Baton Rouge, this place didn't even get close to wet. Well, he cancels the flood insurance against the banks, against his covenant, 2 months before the flood of August of 2016. His business took on 4 feet of water. No flood insurance policy. So again, it's because he was unwilling to listen to other perspectives. You know, and the other thing, I guess it kind of goes back to leadership. What I've seen, and I don't know if you're a fan of Simon Sinek.
Oh, a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard Jeff knows more about him.
He does a thing where he said, where leaders generally speak last. Because if a leader says, this is the problem, this is what I think we need to do, whatever, what do you think? Well, you just shut up most of the room. Most of the room is not going to go and say, well, I think something different. You know, if they've already said, this is where I think we ought to solve it. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. You know, say, well, what do y'all think? How do y'all think we should solve it? Let everybody else give the input, take it all in. Because they might have some brilliant ideas, you know. So yeah, I don't see entrepreneurs being that great of, and I'm sure there are exceptions to the rule. And for the typical entrepreneur out there, no, don't try and coach your people. You're going to do a bad job. What they're going to come away from is, you're wrong, you're stupid, you're slow, you're ineffective. You don't get it like I get it. You know, that's what they're going to, you're not going to say those words, but that's what they're going to listen. That's what they're going to hear.
That's a good, yeah, that's great too, you know. So yeah, so this, we have to go back and say, what is there I can now learn that will help me be a better business tomorrow? Right. You know, that's what we're looking for. There's something here, and it might be different for each one, but I kind of say for my own life, I want to learn something today to be more effective and peaceful tomorrow. And so that's how I kind of talk myself into things, you know. Yeah, and I think it's been a very helpful. Like what can I learn today does help me be effective and be peaceful at the same time. Right. And it's taken me a long way, you know, because I just say it out loud and speak it and do it. And I'm looking for effectiveness to make me have the peace I want in my life. Right. You know, so there's a whole bunch of stuff out there, you know, it is a whole bunch of people out there. So what you're talking about, to me, one of the big things that will make entrepreneurs more effective is being open to not knowing.
because
That would be a good way to say it. Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of these guys, and gals, for them to be able to take the risk of them to be willing to actually jump off a cliff and start flapping their arms and grow wings, they have to be very confident, right? It takes a lot of confidence. So a lot of times they know that they know, and you can't tell them anything different, which leaves them blind to potential risks they don't see, which they can crash and burn on. Right. And again, most of them know the successful ones have learned how to navigate around roadblocks, breakdowns, whatever. Pretty much whatever you throw in front of them, they'll get around it. But every now and then, you're going to jump off a cliff. That's going to be some fatal trap, and you're not going to survive it. The business is not going to survive it. But yeah, being open to what I don't see here and what's possible, being able to take in different perspectives, to me would make entrepreneurs more effective. And for most entrepreneurs, that's painful because they have to be patient. They can't move as fast as they want. They can't just like snap decisions and start taking action, start telling everybody what to do, making it happen. And again, what happens is a lot of times, because they don't see certain dangers, they don't see certain risks, those things pop up, screw up their plans. They got to navigate, and they stay frustrated a lot. Why isn't this going faster? Because you didn't plan well. Yeah. You didn't take in all the perspectives and lay out an effective strategy. But that's a whole nother conversation.
That could be. Yeah.
Anyway, well, man, listen, I'm glad you're doing well. You're still doing your classes, enjoying life. So I'm gonna go to the last bit before I ask you to talk about how you help people and how they can get in touch with you. There's this thing I call underrated, overrated. So I'm gonna have five, I guess, ideas here, and I finish with the last question. So I'm gonna say something. You tell me you think it's overrated or underrated, and you can tell me why if you'd like. Okay, Italian food, is it underrated or overrated?
No, it's under.
Italian food is underrated?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think so too. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
There's a lot of misconceptions about living in Louisiana, especially South Louisiana. So I'm going to ask you, South Louisiana lifestyle, is that underrated or overrated?
I think still underrated. There's a lot of things here.
Yeah, I think my experience, very much underrated. Mardi Gras, is that underrated or overrated?
I'm not a real believer of it, but it's every year at my building, where on Rhine Street, I open it up for Mardi Gras. There's so much weight. It's getting so places. You have to have policemen on the grounds. You watch the kids. Be careful. So I'm kind of holding back on that.
Okay. And finally, technology, modern technology, Zoom meetings.
Zoom meetings, I'm impressed, but I'm not doing the time and practice to stay up with it.
Yeah.
It just seems overwhelming some days, and so forth. So,
yeah.
But that's what.
But in general, technology, would you say it's overrated or underrated?
I don't really think it's overrated. It's hard for me to answer that question because I usually don't pay attention to all that. But
okay. That's fine.
I think overrated because it's the personalities are not. I can't see your eyes and your face and the way you sit in your chairs and stuff like that, and it's kind of sad not being in the room. You might be there with the one owner, and the other people are in 16 houses in Baton Rouge, zooming in on us, and you can't see them face to face.
Yeah,
I don't know if we're in the right direction on that.
Right. Yeah, there's something lost in translation.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and the last question I have was: you rather be smart or lucky?
Kind of pick neither, or what?
Well, yeah, you can say neither, or you have a third choice.
And I have to be. Say it again for me, then.
Yeah, would you rather be smart or lucky?
I'd rather be Mike.
Yeah, but Mike, that's a Mike answer. Perfect. That's great. So listen, Mike, thank you for being on the podcast today.
Okay.
How do you help people, and how do they get in touch with you?
Well, referrals have been a big deal for me. I mean, people here in Lake Charles, they hear about me and I can go do their place. And was kind of hoping, like, I had a dear friend of mine and he has a franchise here for We Buy Ugly Houses. And every employee he gets, he brings them to my place. So he's been to my class about 7 years, and he comes in with his people, and they're learning together. They look at each other, and they kind of make fun of each other. So we kind of make it playful. So I'll say referral is kind of like my best thing right there.
Right. But how do you help people?
How do I help people?
Yeah.
My class has changed people's lives. Example, right before the virus, he's still a young man. He was been managing at Citgo in a department, and he had 25 years as a manager over this people. So Citgo was sending me people. I didn't call them, they sent me people. They always told me the truth. They said, we're sending you the hard ones. We don't know what to do with them. You know, I said,
thanks.
I said they were picking and choosing, sending them. I said, oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, you know. But what happened in one of them, you know, a year ago, this guy, young man, he comes in and we have a U-shaped tables, and he just sat back like this for the whole class. The next week, when we got into part 2, he kind of leaned forward. In part 3, I couldn't shut his mouth, you know. And he actually told me, he says, I've been using your tools at work. I said, well, thanks, Chris. I think his name was Chris. And he says, all of it's working. I said, come on, tell me some more. He said, well, we had this monthly meeting that usually takes an hour and a half that no one wants to go to anyway. He said, I did everything that you talked about in this class, and we finished it in 30 minutes.
Wow.
So he said, and then his assistant, he then sent him the next month to me. So he got the two people, both of them kind of coming together. So those kind of things, those are game changers for me. You know, they hear that. I had a lady one time, she was moving back from Georgia. I have to cut this real fast, but she was moving back. She was from Lake Charles, but she was moving back, and her best friend was telling her to come to my class. She wasn't even employed yet. I said, you need to come to Mike's class. And she, all right, so she shut up and came to my class. And it was about the same thing after the second one. The third one, I did the 4 moods of life, 4 moods of life, basic moods of life. And what the story ended up was this. The next week I had to ask her, why were you smiling in my room last week, Thursday, on the third group? He goes, well, the truth is this. My husband committed suicide 2 months ago.
Wow.
I was living with my 2 daughters, couldn't take care of them. And so I moved back to Lake Charles. And she said, when she saw how to get out of resentment is through forgiveness, she said, that's what changed my life.
Wow.
So I get some pretty personal things because I kind of mix it up the same way, but those kind of things, I call them my cookies. I get to go home and I've got a cookie, you know, but those are coming from a housewife being in my class to a manager of 25 years at Citgo, Calcasieu Parish Police Jury. They love me. Just wherever it seems I can go, I just do it. Home furniture, you know.
Yeah. So basically you hold classes on effective language and effective communications for people that they can actually use in business, huh?
Yeah. It's like a 2 for free. I'm telling you, it's like it works at home and it works at work. Trust at home or trust at work. They're the same phenomena. And
Right.
they end up probably using them more at home. And
Yeah.
then they're thanking me for that,
Right.
because they would not have seen that. She would not have seen the word forgiveness on the board. It just wouldn't have happened. So I do one-on-one. Some people don't like to come to groups, and they schedule with me. I can do one-on-one with the
So you
same
do some one-on-one coaching.
Yeah, just like that. Just if they want to go sit with me and go through all these pages I've just done, that's what I can do that. I think I like also flexible, because I was told that Mondays and Fridays, no nurses can leave the hospital, to come to class. And I can do a night class from 5 o'clock to 8:30 in the evenings for people who don't really do that. I know there's some bunch of people here in Lake Charles want me to start teaching their teenagers again. I did that for 18 years in Baton Rouge.
Right. The teen course.
Yeah.
Probably more, what's the word? Probably more necessary. I don't know what you want to call it.
No, well, it's those kids became so close to my heart. They were just so dynamic.
Yeah.
And they had their stories and they had their faults and everything else.
Yeah.
But I have a bunch of stories about that. They said things to me they wouldn't tell their parents. Okay.
So, I know.
So that's pretty cool. But so I have those of, I've taught the kids, I've taught executive people, whichever that might be, and but I'm just doing the people that want to come to me, like it's I don't get upset if someone can't make it at the last minute and stuff like that. I used to argue about them, but I said, you know what? I don't know their life.
Right.
Something happened in their house or something, and they just can't attend this time. So I try to be a big offer like that, like, hey, come join the party, because I know I'm having fun. So it's pretty good.
Good. So how do people get in touch with you?
Well, you can get online. I'm also a member for the last 3 years on the BBB. People here, Better Business Bureau.
Oh, the BBB. Okay.
There. And I work with them and other business people like that. And if you want to call me, I have a phone number in the book, and I could give you my phone number if you want that at any point.
If you want to give it out, we can put it up there at the end of the show.
Okay, it's like real simple: 337-302-1816. I do have a web. Okay,
337 what?
302
302
1816.
1816. Okay.
Yeah, and that's my direct cell phone. I'm usually in my office all the time, and you can go on the computer and look me up, Mike Papania, Lake Charles, Louisiana, Coaching for Success. I have the numbers there and everything.
Yeah, I have your email. I'll make sure that that's up on the end screen.
Oh, good.
And Papania Coaching for Success, I think.
It's just, I think I just say Coaching for Success.
Yeah.
So that's it.
But it's Papania at Coaching for Success.
Oh, suddenlymail.com. That's a long number. Yeah. It's Papania at suddenlinkmail.com.
That's it. That's it.
I've never changed it.
And you do have a website?
Yes, I do. A couple of people that did some, they talked good about me, especially Jack Jackson from Stoller Jewelry. He sent a thing to me. I can't remember exactly who they were. Some of them was like that.
Can you send me your website by email?
Yeah, I'll get that for you.
I'll make sure it gets included in the end.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, I'm gonna wrap it up. I just want to say thanks for being on the podcast today, Mike. We really enjoyed our conversation.
Okay.
Great talking to you.
Thank you, and have fun.
Yeah.
I'm not having fun. I'm telling you, have fun. Yeah.
Well, listen, we'll have to do it again sometime.
Okay.
Catch up with you and see how things are going.
Super good.
All right.
Thank you very much for this little opportunity to sit with you. It's been a pleasure.